What a day, what a day. It's a good day, it's a good day. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but I have a question for you, which is how do you stay consistent as a freelancer? How do you keep up your work ethic? How do you drive forward, push on whenever you have all this work to do? You've got deadlines maybe, but they're a little bit out, you don't really know, and you just kind of push off the work. Maybe you don't apply to as many gigs as you could because you're a procrastinator. Maybe you don't do as much work as you should because you get distracted or you start playing video games, you do something else, and you maybe don't even think you have enough time. You don't think you have enough time. You got these other things going on. You got a full-time job. You got this and that and the other. How do you stay consistent as a freelancer so that you can make some real freaking money and change your life? That's what we're going to talk about today. Stick around. Hey minions, if you're new to the channel and you like what I have to say, then be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you never miss a video. Only do this if you like what I have to say and if you want to hear more about freelancing, entrepreneurship, and personal world domination. For those who don't know me, I'm Lex DeVille, and on this channel we help you escape corporate prison and build a freelance empire. Talk about lots of freelance writing, tips, tutorials, advice, not just freelance writing, all freelancing really. It's generally applicable to all freelancers of anywhere from all walks of life, whether you are cold outreaching, whether you are going through a freelance platform, whether you are just pulling in inbound leads maybe through your website. If that's the kind of thing you're into, then you will want to subscribe. You will want to click that notification bell so you never miss a video. Today we're talking a little bit about consistency, and this is something that I've noticed over the years, many times. Freelancers, there's like two or three things maybe that consistently hold freelancers back in their career. One of those things is just general limiting beliefs. They're afraid to do this, that, and the other. They're constantly questioning things. They are constantly saying, how can I do this? Really, they're saying, why is this happening to me? But they're saying, I can't do this because, or can I do this if, blah, 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 lots of questions. That's usually those questions come from limiting beliefs. You say, do you think this piece of whatever is good enough? Do you think that's good enough? Do you think these rates are good enough? Will these rates work? Will these rates make me look like a fool? Will these rates cause clients to skip over me? Do I need to add a portfolio piece? Do I need a link to portfolio pieces? Can I use Dropbox for my portfolio? Can I use Google Drive? Is Upwork's portfolio section enough? You ask questions like this, and you ask them instead of just testing them to find out. And limiting beliefs, these all go back to limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs. Some part of me wishes that there was a different way to express the idea of limiting beliefs. They are beliefs that you hold about your world that have you questioning it, have you questioning whether or not you're good enough, whether or not you're capable enough, whether or not you can handle this thing, whether or not you are going to fail. And a lot of it comes back to fear of failure. That's the main limiting belief, is people don't want to fail. They're afraid to fail. And, failure is going to happen sometimes. You're going to stumble, you're going to fall, you're going to hopefully brush your knees off and pick your ass up and start walking again. And this video isn't even about limiting beliefs, but I just wanted to get that point across, that it is probably the number one thing that holds freelancers back, is limiting beliefs that you don't realize you have, and usually coming from fear and worry. Beyond those limiting beliefs, other things that really stop freelancers is that maybe, oops, I bumped the table. I guess that's the main thing, but there's always consistency. Consistency is the big one, and consistency is a problem for a lot of freelancers because you maybe don't send as many proposals as you could, you don't send as many cold emails as you could if that's your approach. You don't want to work. Whenever you start taking on work, you don't want to do the work, so you don't increase your workload. Even if you're good at writing proposals, you don't increase it because you don't want to do more work. You also think that you don't have enough time, and the time that you do have, you only want to spend a little bit of it freelancing. These are all little things that you can be distracted. You can play video games. You might start watching porn. Whatever the thing is that you do, how do you keep yourself in the zone, in the zone of freelancing, so that you can make a lot of money? Because that's obviously the goal. There is a secret. There's a secret that I have for what works for me, and I'm going to tell you that here in a second. But in general, there's not really a secret. Like, you have to just do the thing that you don't want to do. That's That's mostly how freelancing is. That's how it works. If you want to make a lot of money with freelancing, you either need one client that's paying you an enormous amount, or you need multiple clients that are going to pay you smaller amounts, and you're going to have to juggle multiple clients and figure out how to do that. And this has always been a problem in business. It's trading time for money for a little bit, but you can overcome some of that through your pricing structures, your packaging, your deliverables. There's different ways about that. But bottom line is, you've got to do the work. So how do you get yourself to do the work if you can't do the work? It's a funny thing. The thing that works for me, I actually found out also works for David Goggins. And I learned about him when I was listening to his audiobook. It's probably, 6 months or so ago, but I've been doing this for years, and that doesn't mean I was doing it first. Probably not. He's older than me. He was probably doing it first. Who knows? I'm not going to claim it like as if I was doing it first. I probably was, but for me, there's been a lot of times where I didn't want to do shit. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to work on copywriting. I didn't want to do freelance projects. I didn't want to apply to gigs. Didn't want to exercise, and this is an important one. Exercise is not the secret. The secret is, for exercising and for all of these other things, I found out that for exercising, if I could just get my fucking shoes on, which meant I'd already put my socks on, but if I could get my shoes on, then that process built momentum. Because by the time I had my shoes on, it meant also that I had my shorts on, my running shorts. I probably had a shirt on. So I was basically ready to go at that point. Once I got my shoes on, though, something switched. It was like a switch flipped in my mind. I don't know. That did not come off as smoothly as I hoped. It was like a switch flipped in my mind, and suddenly I had the motivation to take that first step. I have my shoes on, so now I can take a step. I can stretch. Maybe that's the next thing. I've got momentum. It's slowly building into a snowball that can build into a snowman, that can build into an avalanche, whatever. Get my shoes on. Stretch. Step toward the door. Open the door. Step out the door. Feel the cold morning air. Step out into the street. Start walking a little bit. Start moving faster. Break into a jog. Now I'm jogging and jogging and jogging. Now we've got sprints coming up. 30 seconds of sprints. Back to jogging. Slows down. Getting my shoes on is the pivotal moment. It's the pivotal thing. There's like some build-up work that goes into this, because I have to get other parts on. But really, something switches when I get my shoes on. So I get my shoes on. If I need to exercise, I get my shoes on. David Goggins said that he does the same thing. He said sometimes he sits there staring at his shoes for like an hour or something like that. I don't even know how long it was. I forget. But he said he'll sit there staring at his shoes forever. And it's a battle in his mind, a battle of his will, a battle to see which one will win. Will his mind win over his will, or will his will win over his mind? The thing about will is it is a process of choices, really. That's how I think about it anyway. It's like bodybuilding. So you have a weak will maybe right now. You have to take little baby steps to start moving you in the direction of a stronger will. And I like to look at putting your shoes on as the first of those baby steps. Because once you get your shoes on, then you won the battle, really. So I guess that's true for David too. He sits there staring at his shoes, and he's fighting a battle in his mind, and then eventually he wins that battle. And he puts on his shoes, and then he's ready to go. Now he goes and runs however many hundreds of miles that he runs. I don't run that much, but it's true for exercise for me. I don't know if this will work for you. It's true for me in exercise, and it's true for me in freelancing. So the first thing I do in the morning when I wake up, whether I'm going to exercise or doing something else, when I'm ready to freelance, is I go and put my shoes on. And I actually get dressed. I'm just wearing t-shirts and shorts, but I get dressed. But getting those shoes on is pivotal. I cannot freelance in my socks. I will not get anything done if I have my shoes off. So I leave my shoes on, and I'll leave them on all day. I'll leave them on from 2 in the morning till 7 o'clock at night until the time I go to bed. I will leave them on because I want to be productive. Now there's playtime in there sometimes. Kick off my shoes, relax, whatever. But I have to get those freaking shoes on. I don't know, maybe this is weird to you guys, but you can tell me if it's weird. What is your ritual? Some of you probably have rituals where you can be consistent. My ritual, though, is I have to get those shoes on. And this goes for not just freelancing, but for copywriting. I write better copy whenever I have my shoes on. For any kind of sales and client calls, I have to have my shoes on, because if my shoes aren't on, I'm not in the zone. I'm in this casual relax zone, which is like casual playtime zone. That's what being in my socks means. It means it's time to relax. It means it's time to shut down and to shut off. When my shoes are on, it's time to work. That's what shoes are for. Shoes are for doing work. They're for exercising. They're for running. They're for jumping. They're for keeping your feet rock solid and ready to kick ass. I don't know. That's what shoes are for. They are there to help you do work, to move, and to get momentum in your life and in your day. So that is my secret. That is the secret sauce to my success as a copywriter, as a freelancer, as a person who stays pretty fit most of the time. It's getting my shoes on. If I win the battle and I get my shoes on, then everything else seems to fall into place. After that, I can write copy for hours. I can freelance for hours. I can sit there and write proposals at 7 o'clock at night if I have to, and win gigs with those proposals, even when my brain is maxed out from writing copy for several hours that day. That's my secret. That's my secret to consistency. I have no other secrets other than I want to make money, and that kind of motivates me, I guess, when I'm doing this, is that I get to make money whenever I finish stuff. But get your shoes on. If you really need something else to help you, there's two things that can do it. One of them is pretty risky, though. So the first one is that you need to set earlier deadlines for yourself. Set deadlines for when you're going to stop working, when you need to have work finished by, or when you need to do certain things by. If you're writing freelance proposals, you should have maybe set a deadline of finding 2 to 3 clients to apply to this week by the end of the week. So by Saturday morning, you've already applied to 2 to 3 clients. But I don't really think that there's a number of clients that you should apply to in a week. I really think it's about finding the exact right people. That's a whole different topic we've talked about lots of times. What I do think is that if you're doing something like copywriting, then you should set your deadline several days, or at least 1 to 2 days earlier than the actual deadline, so that you give yourself room and space to breathe. And I have to get this thing written by this day, not that other day. Because if you get to the other day and you're just finishing up the copy, it's not going to have time to breathe. It's not going to have room to for you to review it and to make sure it's actually good stuff. So be thinking about that if you're a copywriter, and it could go for other areas of freelancing as well. Beyond that, the only other thing that really motivates me to win, to kick ass at freelancing or whatever it is that I'm doing, is having my back up against the wall. That is probably the single most motivating thing on the planet. Like, your back is up against the wall. You do or die. You have to do this. So I guess my question for you is, how can you put yourself into a situation like that? And what would that situation look like for you? I mean, this is really drastic. So you have to, if you've got a family, if you've got kids and a dog and a house and a car, 2 cars, whatever that may be, if you've got a bunch of student loan debt and you're not really, it really comes down to if you have a family or not. I mean, if you have a family that you need to support, maybe ease off a little bit on the high level risk taking. For me, when I jumped in, I just jumped in. I said, fuck this job that I'm doing. I hate it. I'm going to start a business. I don't know anything about how to start a business. I'm doing it anyway. So I quit my job and I started a business, and it failed hard, and I ran out of money, and all the bad things happened. But I survived. And you'll survive. It's not that easy to die in this world, with the exception of weird shit that happens, weird pandemics, car crashes, your airplane crashes. Lots of weird shit happens that can kill you. You get murdered on the streets. Lots of bad stuff can happen. But the thing that's not going to kill you is running out of money. That's usually not the thing that's going to kill you, because you actually have a lot of resources at your disposal. You can figure it out. I mean, you can eat squirrels if you have to. You can eat crickets if you really had to. You can survive outside. People do it all the time. It's called camping. You can survive. Even if you were to become homeless, you can still survive. You can still get internet access. There are still people who will help you, and you can still go forward. But it's more risky if you have a family. So you have to think about the quality of life for your family before you make a high-risk decision, such as putting your back against the wall. Unless your back's against the wall already, then that should motivate you. And if it doesn't, then freelancing's probably not the right place for you. You probably need a regular old job, because if your back's against the wall and you still can't perform, then I don't know, you're either depressed and you really can perform, or you actually cannot perform and freelancing is not for you. Those would be my 2 thoughts on that. Get your shoes on though. Let's start there. You don't have to have your back against the wall right now. Just put your fucking shoes on. Put them on and get to work. And that's what this is. And go make some money. That's what this is. Put your shoes on and get some momentum. And once you have that momentum going, don't let it up. Keep the television off. Keep the video games unplugged. Keep the porn, jerk off first thing in the morning so you get that out of the way quickly. Or don't do it at all, I guess. I don't know. Whatever works for you. I don't have any suggestions for that one. That's pretty much it. Get your shoes on. You can do this with your back against the wall. You can do it with your back facing the wall, or whatever other way that you want to do it. Tell me what works for you, for the people who are out there and you are able to work for hours and go consistently. I think that the more money you make, the more motivated you're going to be. And I make a good chunk of change with what I do. So sometimes it's not that hard for me to get motivated to do the work, because I'm like, right on the other side of delivering this is a big payday for me, and that's going to be nice. I'm going to go buy me an ice cream or something that I feel like I deserve. I don't know. I don't have anything else to say. Thanks so much for watching this video. I'm Lex DeVille. Sorry the camera's shaky. It's because of this ridiculously shaky table. I'm going to replace it here shortly. See you next time.